What's up, y'all? It's your boy AJ, and I'm back with another video. Today we are reviewing The Pitt Season 1. I've been hearing you guys, oh, watch The Pitt. The Pitt is so good. Watch it. It's on HBO Max. Enjoy it. Watch it. I sat down, I pressed play on the first episode, and the rest was history. So I have some thoughts about it. So we're going to get into this thing. So let's go. This show will bring you to your knees emotionally. It will bring you to your knees maybe physically as well. This show is so immersive and so strong, and it has such heavy moments, but also so many lighthearted moments to where it's just such a well-rounded show that it's really near perfect. We have an ensemble cast here. Not a whole lot of these actors are really well known. Some have more acting experience than others, but for the most part, they're all no names. They're not household names. If you don't know what this show is about, it's about a daily life of healthcare professionals in this one emergency unit. They're seeing patients, dealing with their own issues internally and at home, and dealing with like the hierarchy and workplace politics. And one of the biggest things with this show is they took the 24 approach. If you're familiar with that show, each episode is an hour of their time. So each episode is an hour of their shift. It starts at the beginning of the day at 7 a.m. and then goes all the way to, I believe, 9 p.m. So each episode is an hour of their shift, and it's all one day. I think this aspect makes the show very immersive. Yes, it's very fast paced, but the fact that each episode is an hour and it carries cases over from episode to episode. So you might get introduced to a case in episode 1 and they might not finish until episode 4, but there's a lot of different patients coming in and out of the unit. Yes, this is a medical drama, but this is different than your usual medical drama. Of course, like I said, each episode is an hour of the shift, and the entire season is one day. But usually in medical dramas, there has a lot outside the hospital, a lot of their personal lives and things like that. I'm thinking Grey's Anatomy, House, ER, things like that. I've only seen, some of those shows. I'm not, a medical drama enthusiast. But those shows deal with the actual healthcare professionals' home life, and they show their home life. This is not the case in this show. I love how the show is structured to where at the beginning of the show, we introduce these characters, but we don't give them much backstory. We don't really know who they are. We're just kind of thrown to the wolves, and we see them doing their thing. We see them taking care of patients. And as the episodes go along, we get to learn more about their lives, whether it's through them telling a patient about their lives or telling each other or talking to each other. Some of these individuals don't have relationships with each other. Some of these people, it's their first day. They don't have really a relationship with each other, but there's a lot of things that happen during this particular shift, during this day, that brings them together and, makes them have a bond. When I say this day is crazy, it is insane. So even though it follows so many different characters, we do have an understanding that there is one particular character that is the main character, and he is the lead doctor for this shift, and his name is Michael Rabinovich, and they call him Dr. Robbie. I'm gonna say all around, the acting is phenomenal in this show, but I think that this particular actor takes the cake with the acting and making you feel the emotions that he feels. Another one of my favorite characters is Collins, and Robbie and Collins kind of, they have a past and they kind of butt heads, but they really care for each other and care for their entire unit. We have Dr. Langdon, we have Dr. King, we have Dr. Mohan, and Dr. McKay. And I believe those are all of our main doctors. Forgive me if I'm forgetting anyone. But these doctors have a lot to offer. Even though they butt heads sometimes, they always are feeding into each other and encouraging each other throughout the shift. And I love that unity. That's something that I love in this show. Then you have your student doctors. There is some drama there. And that brings me to one of my least favorite characters. I will say, everybody in this show has some weaknesses. They show their weaknesses and they show their strong suits, including this character that I am not a huge fan of. The one character that I just find very annoying, she gets under my skin, she gets, grinds my gears. Dr. Santos. And she's not the worst ever, but she is very annoying to me as far as just being a know-it-all, being really aggressive, not like really paying the best attention to the patients. But like I said, her strong suits are her knowledge. She knows a lot about medicine. So her combating the doctors and her doing things without permission and things like that, yes, it can be annoying, but she is saving lives. So like, you can't be that mad at her. We have a group of nurses here. The head nurse is Dana. I absolutely love this character. This might be my favorite character of the series besides Robbie. I love Dana. And then her relationship with Robbie. Robbie and Dana have just like this camaraderie and understanding and, this unity where they work together very, very well, even in overwhelming circumstances. And believe me, there are a lot of overwhelming circumstances in this series. I also love how this show is shot. There's a lot of times where we'll be following an individual, one of the doctors, and then they'll be doing something and then another doctor will walk by and the camera will start to follow them and it'll just go into that other doctors, whatever they're doing. I kind of love that. That's really cool to me. But they don't do it all the time. That's not something that's, done each time they transition to a different doctor or a different case. But that is something that I really admire when it is done. Another very interesting thing about this show is the hierarchy and the politics that come with these medical professionals and what ranking they are, or one person is maybe a little lower than the other and they treat them as such, and that person doesn't really like that. And I'm mainly talking about Dr. Langdon and Dr. Santos. They're basically beefing the entire season. The outcome of that is kind of insane, but I do kind of like the drama with that. It's very interesting to me. Since each episode is an hour of the shift, a lot of these episodes blend together to me, especially towards the beginning of the show. Episodes 1 through 7 kind of are like the same episode to me. Like, I feel like you could have just played it all the way out, no credits, no intro, and it would be one long episode. Now, episode 8 is an episode that broke me down to my knees. You should have seen me watching this episode. I am like straight bawling, tears down my eyes. Usually when things involve a kid, it is really emotional. But this, you could tell as soon as this patient entered the unit, the whole vibe of the show changed. And there was a lot of different doctors coming in, and usually they hadn't shown this many doctors going in on one patient. And it is the 6-year-old little girl, the drowning patient. When they revealed what happened and how it happened, I said, y'all got it. Y'all got it. And then I would say from episode 9 through like 11, it kind of blended together. But episode 11 to 15, something huge happens where there's a lot of casualties that come into the hospital, and a lot of, like, I would say those episodes blended together because they were dealing with nothing but these patients. There are 15 episodes total, and I would say a lot of them kind of blend together, but there are sections, of the show that do feel different. Since the show is structured that way with, each hour, I feel like that last, 3 or 4 episodes felt like the finale. It's leading up to the finale of a season. because of this huge thing that happened. The significance of this particular shift is that it is an anniversary of, something traumatic that happened in Dr. Robbie's life. And he's dealing with that the entire day. He's, kind of flashing back to that traumatic day, that traumatic moment. And there are moments where he's just kind of like breaking down. It doesn't happen a lot, but there is like a few moments throughout the season where he just kind of is breaking down. It's really overwhelming to him. You can see the hurt and the emotion in this character. The end of the season / the end of the day, he feels like quitting. Like literally. But some of my favorite characters, like I said, Robbie, Collins. I really like Dr. King as well. Melissa King is a very good doctor, and she's very concerned about the patients. She isn't just in and out, but she really is concerned about the patients and their emotional well-being as well as their physical well-being. Same with Dr. Mohan. I would say I would want Dr. King, Dr. Robbie, Dr. Mohan to be my doctor personally. Langdon is one that's kind of like, he'll go in there, he'll see about the problem, try to fix it, and not even really try to talk to you. I know there's so many doctors out there like that, to where it's like in and out. And I'm like, no, you gotta converse with the patient. You got to meet them on an emotional level so they can trust you. That comes with the whole customer satisfaction thing. Oh, Gloria. Oh, there's this character named Gloria, and she is very concerned about the customer satisfaction, and it is not doing they're not doing very well in that department, in the customer satisfaction department, mainly because of the waiting room. There is a waiting room, and there are people that are waiting here for maybe 5-6 hours to be seen, just because the whole unit is under budgeted, underfunded, and understaffed. So it makes it hard to see patients. This show really depicts the struggle of an underfunded and understaffed hospital. There was a character that was so fed up about the wait time that he did something that was shocking. Well, this show was fire. This show was a banger. My favorite aspects of this show is the unity that they had. Sometimes the drama, but the unity that they had, especially with those overwhelming situations. Now, this show has a lot of things in it that will go over your head if you don't have medical knowledge. There are certain things that was said and done in this show where I'm like, I don't know if that's something that's right. I don't know if that's something that's true. I wouldn't know. You could tell me that if you inject this will happen. And, if you sound like you know a lot of words, like, yeah, that's what I'm going to believe you. But I've heard that a lot of medical professionals that have watched the show said that it's very accurate to real life as far as the medicine is concerned. Medical terminology, how things go in the hospital, what they treat for what, heard that a lot of that is accurate. And I think that's really cool. I think the one downfall for this show is it's something that I also admire about the show, but I also feel like it is very, very exhausting. I watched it on a binge, so I didn't watch it week to week. I feel like if you watch this show week to week, you would feel very, very exhausted by the end of the season. And I guess that's the point, because these characters are exhausted because their, day has been insane. But by episode 15, I'm like, I'm ready for this shift to be over. Not that this is a bad episode, or not that it's a bad season or episode. It's just I'm ready for this shift to be over and let these characters breathe and have some rest. This show will do that to you. It'll make you feel for those characters, make you feel like you're in there and actually on the shift with them. Also, I feel like the show is very visceral, especially if you binge it. If you are watching this on a binge, it'll really make you think about your own, medical circumstance. And for somebody who is kind of like paranoid and anxious and things like that, it might be a lot. It might be a little much. You might want to take your time with this season because there are a lot of cases here that are very heavy. A lot of losses, a lot of emotions going on, and it is portrayed so realistically. So if you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell for new content. Hit me up on socials, Instagram, X, Serialized, Letterboxd, AJREACTS2, all across the board, all one word. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.